Hi guys, and welcome to today's episode of the Deep Dive. Before we get on with the show, if you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, and you'll be notified every time we go live with a new deep dive, or in fact any other video that goes up on our YouTube channel. Now, today's episode I've really been looking forward to because I have known this creator for many years. He was a mere child, I think, when I first met him. He was a very bad influence on me at conventions and my wife, and it is the legend that is Michael Murray.
Hello, Pete. How are you doing? There are some stories that I could tell, but I won't.
I was thinking about that today. I was thinking, do I bring any of this up? And I thought, no.
Leave it buried. Leave it buried. Reputations are at stake.
We'll keep it on a professional level. No, Michael. I mean, I've known you. God, you would have been in your late teens, I think, when we first met.
Yeah, I think maybe it's even slightly. Yeah. I think probably about 17, I believe, 16, 17, somewhere in that region. Yeah, it was quite some time ago. I still remember the very first effect that I got off you. It was Charles Gauchi's Eye to Eye. So
wow, yeah, we had the exclusive on that in the UK. And the amount of people that had to go to A&E to get these things taken out. There it is.
What was that, Pete? I didn't catch you.
That was a great trick. But you've done so many things, because when I first met you were more. Well, everyone was sort of more into magic. I think mentalism was becoming sort of more and more popular. When Alexam first started, we were pretty much known for mentalism. A lot of the stuff we brought out was mentalism. Mm-hmm. And even though we still sell a lot of mentalism and we release a lot, it has shifted now. So it's sort of everything. Whereas we were more geared towards mentalism, you were doing more magic with mentalism bits. And as our relationship or you know the way we knew each other went on, I remember you doing more and more mentalism. I remember being at an IBM convention with going back years, and you did Between the Lines for Jenny. Yes. And that was a long time ago. And that was great. You always have quite a unique take on your mentalism and the methods you come up with. I mean, you've grown to have such a big reputation as someone that's really creative and does think outside the box. So where does this all come from?
Too much time on my hands, I believe. Yeah, I suppose really I was I had to take a little bit of a backseat from the sort of magic circle. Just owing to the fact that I had children, and you know, obviously, when sort of family life takes over, you sort of become less involved with, you know, what's sort of current in the magic world, and you become a little bit more withdrawn. And I suppose basically by staying withdrawn for so long, I began to sort of work on my own ideas, and you know, I wasn't influenced by other people, so. You know, so that left the doors open just to really explore my creativity. When I was up sort of till the twilight hours, my son literally never slept. So between me and my wife, we were on sort of 3-hour shifts, literally through the night. And that afforded me plenty of time to think. So
yeah. So Beyond ESP, was that your first effect? Or
yes, Beyond ESP was my first effect, yes. I believe to date, I think it's sold. Well, at last count, it was about 15,000 copies, but that was several years ago. So I think now it's probably somewhere about 18 to 20,000 copies. So for the first release, it certainly wasn't bad.
And for anyone that knows about sales figures in magic, I mean, talking about 18, 20,000, I mean, that's not common. Not common at all.
I think I started off high and then went right down from there.
But the thing is, it just shows you that it's a deck that people are using, but they continue to use.
Yes.
So when their deck runs out, if they get it wet, if it gets damaged or lost, they're buying another one. It does seem to be the go-to deck. There are sort of staples when we look at Magic. There are staples in different areas, and it seems like beyond ESP, even though people might see another ESP deck and go, oh, let's give that a go, it seems like they're reverting back. They try it and then go, oh, I'll just go back to my beyond ESP. It's such a simple marking system. I think the marking system was Shadowitz's, yeah?
Yes,
or similar. It's different.
Yeah, Jerry Sadowitz had an effect which was called Spellblinder. Yeah. And basically, this was based on like a binary principle. It was like an alphabet deck. And what I did was basically adopted the marking system to code between 5 different possibilities. Obviously, the 5 ASP symbols, as opposed to 2 differentials, which Jerry had. I believe, actually going further back for credit in history, Mark Parker was actually the one who designed the cards for Jerry. So I didn't find that out until afterwards. So Jerry did get the credit in the book, but I believe it was Mark Parker that actually created the artwork for him.
It was, yeah. I had the original Spell Blinder, which had no markings. I don't know if you remember that. It was... No. Oh my God. I don't want to talk about it too much. I'm just going to tell you because it was phenomenal. So basically, the deck's blank backed.
Right.
The effect's the same. His back's turned. I take out my 5 cards, make my word. He turns round. Within a split second, he just straightens the cards and he instantly knows my word.
Very good. Very good.
Any idea on method?
I can only surmise if he's straightening the cards up, maybe some tactile chicanery going on.
It honestly, mate, it was so clever. I'll tell you the method after, but it was clever. And then he went on to the marking system. But so after Beyond ESP, the other one that I think really made your name for Mentalism as well, or really helped cement it, was Between the Lines, which was such a clever idea. And it, sorry, I was just going to say, because it's one of those things where you're putting the thoughts into their mind, which is really clever. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, it actually started off as a propolis effect. So it sort of really was heavily influenced by the work of Banachek and the psychological subtleties. And I was sort of really enamored with the work that he'd put into the book. Psychological subtleties is a classic. But what I wanted to do was to deviate away from, using symbols and just straightforward numbers, and give this thing a practical purpose for existence. So it started off as a propolis piece, and I would suggest to the participant that I was thinking of a few paragraphs from a book that I'd recently read, and then obviously the idea was the participant would conjure up some images in the mind, and then when I actually explained the paragraph or the details of the paragraph that I'd read, it would marry up with what they were thinking of. And it was actually a good friend of mine, Dr. Jonathan Pickard, who actually suggested that actually having tangible evidence and tangible proof and having it in like the form of actually a written page would be the better way forward. So he actually wrote the page itself, obviously incorporating the psychological forces, which is really what this entire thing hinges on. The rest's history. It went down tremendously well, and seemed to be very different to anything else that was on the market.
Yeah, it really was. I still remember the day. I remember being in the hotel at, I think, were we in Eastbourne or something? Hotel in Eastbourne.
It was the IBM convention, I believe, Eastbourne. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
And you performed it on Jenny that night, and it was great. But you since then, because for anyone that doesn't know, you used to work for Magic Box. You worked there for many years, and then
a lot of years.
You started Mind Effects, where you specialize in mentalism. It's not only your creations, you also release, you had Orion, which was an amazing
Yes.
set of books by Fedden.
Pardon.
You've got stuff out by Steve Hairsign.
Hmm.
You know, you're really bringing out some good, strong, solid mentalism, and everything you release seems to be sort of knocking it out of the park. I mean, Fast
So
last
far,
year,
yes,
the
yes.
card at any number was
Hmm.
phenomenal.
Yeah, Fragment got another tremendous response. Yeah, I mean, sort of Mind Effects started off really with the intention just as an opening, so that I could actually market all of the ideas and thoughts that I'd sort of harbored over probably about a 15-year period, and then, obviously I didn't want to just continue releasing too much in one go. So I decided, to a few of my close friends who had ideas that they wanted to release. I was like, we'll take that on board. We'll take that on board. And I think things sort of started to spiral a little bit because I started releasing more of other people's material than my own. So I'm
Yeah.
at this moment in time where I'm starting to rewind a little bit to actually just afford myself, the opportunity to get a few more of my ideas out. But yes, but so far, as I say, everyone has been really well received. So couldn't be happier.
Well, the thing is, I know how much work you put into making sure your products are perfect. You always seem to, like I said earlier, you attack them from a different angle as well. And it's we were discussing before we started recording how you like to really investigate every routine you're putting out to really draw as much out of it as
Yes.
possible. So it just hits so hard, and that's a skill within itself to look at an effect with one reveal and then somehow make that one reveal seem like 10 reveals, you know. So
Yes.
it's like boom boom boom, and it's, you seem to do that very very well. Now
Yeah.
your new effect, this is sort of, it's not even, well, it's on the website now, so
It
it's
is.
released now when this has gone live, but when we're recording this, it's not officially released, and you've already sold a ton of this. I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah.
people were going crazy for this, and you showed me this, I think maybe 3 or 4 months ago, because we were discussing another product that we had
Yes.
out, and we were just, you wanted to check the similarities, even though there's literally zero similarities between them. But you approached us and said, "Oh, let me show you this, see what you think." And I loved it when you showed me it, and you've done more work to it now as well. So tell us a bit about this new product.
Okie doke. So basically, this is the product in question. So it's an effect called Showreel, and it is my resolution to a problem that I had, or not so much a problem, but I spent the summer examining effects which I've performed in the past, but effects that I wasn't 100% happy with.
Yeah,
And one of those effects was an effect by Bill Goldman called Mentally On,
yeah,
which
I
was,
remember that.
it's something which I've performed, hundreds of times, and I can quantify that just by the sheer volume of sales of that particular product, stemming back to when I was in Magic Box, as well as obviously through Mind Effects. And whilst I like the effect, I always like, when I'm performing anything, for it to have a practical purpose for existing. So as opposed to using two cards which are used in that particular effect, which really only exist for the purpose of actually performing the routine, I thought, wouldn't it be nice to actually give it a real world purpose? So I literally redesigned the workings of the effect and produced this, which is basically a page from a magazine. It looks exactly as it should. And what this allows you to do is have the participant think of a celebrity from 30 different possibilities, and you can actually reveal who the participant's thinking of in what I feel is perhaps obviously the most direct way possible.
Yeah.
Other than if we could genuinely read minds, which we can't. So yes, there is a bit of chicanery involved, but in all of the times I've actually performed this, even for like magicians and for mentalists, they're always expecting more process. They're always expecting more. So the reveal of this really does come as a surprise, because it's very quick. It's and what's nice about this is it also affords you a lot of different options. So you can actually perform this close up. With a little bit of memory work, you could actually perform this purely propless for those who like propless work. For those who work on stage, I've actually got a method of actually performing this for 4 participants at the same time in a stage environment. And you get the option of not only being able to reveal who the participants thinking of, but you can actually show, if you wish, how they were actually influenced to make that selection. So we briefly talked a couple of moments ago about actually maximizing the reveal. So we've got a piece of knowledge and we could just reveal that and let that be the end of the routine. But you're also granted the ability to extend the routine. So depending on the reaction that you get from the participant, you can actually extend it and actually show how they're actually influenced to make that selection. You can perform this for 2 people at the same time. Somebody on the Magic Cafe had asked the question, could it be repeated? And whilst generally I would have said no, I started thinking about it and actually came up with a way of allowing that to happen. So yeah, there's a lot of different avenues that you can go down. And I've really sort of went to town with the instructions for this. So it becomes much greater than what's on face value. So the using the actual celebrity that that the participant's thinking of, we can also reveal the name of a fictitious movie that just exists in somebody's minds. So there's a lot which is packed into it. So on the face of it, it's a celebrity revelation, but it really goes beyond that. So yeah, I'm very proud of it. Very proud of it.
See, the thing I like about effects like this, and you did make the point there as well, is it is a self-contained effect. So they think of a movie, you're actually going to demonstrate it in a moment anyway, but they think of a movie, they end up with an actor. Now, the fact is, you're going to know that information. So if you wanted to, you could just use this page as a tool to get you the name of that actor. Now you can really embellish that as much as you want and move away from it, because you've always got that piece of information which is going to become your final reveal. So if you wanted to sort of mix in with it Colin Miller's Fantastic Hollywood or Bust or something like that, and start getting them to imagine scenes from the movie and describing those, and you can really make it bigger. And that's what I like about things like this, is even though they are a self-contained routine, if that's what you want, they're also a fantastic tool to get you into a beautiful position to start doing all this. I call it real mind reading. When I ask someone to think of a scene from a movie, I don't know what scene they're thinking of. I really have to try and imagine, what scene do I think you're going to be thinking of? So to me, that's real as close to mind reading as you're going to get. But even if I sort of fail at that bit, I've still got my killer at the end, which is I can name the movie and the celebrity. So it gives you the option to be able to play with that real mind reading side of it.
Yeah, definitely. I've also covered this in the instructions, but using the fact that which celebrity's been selected, you can incorporate it with the likes of 21st Century Phantom. So it just sort of highlights how this is to me, this is a tool, because you can perform it, and in the instructions I cover a multitude of different ways to do that. But just by examining routines that you already do, you can quite easily find links between them. So as you say, as you suggest, There's a multitude of movie-based effects which Alakazam produces, and you can basically mix and match and really weave these two things together. 21st century Phantom, so you could have the actor or actress thought of, and then take out a business card and cut the silhouette. A multitude of different avenues, but yes, again for me, the real fun comes afterwards. So they've selected a celebrity. I purposely favour pretending to fail. So I've got no idea who you're thinking of. Look, let's change, let's do something completely different. But I'm now later on going to capitalise on that actor or actress, and really sort of milk the reveal for all it's worth. So you can reveal just so much more than just a name.
Yeah, 100%. I love it. So would you like to go into a demonstration?
Yes. Okay. So first thing to mention before we go into the demonstration is that this isn't really designed to be performed in a virtual sense, but I have actually sent Peter a copy of the page. Yeah. So Peter, can you see that page in front of you?
I can.
Okay, so I'm going to give you some instructions. What we've got is a page from a magazine here. And you'll notice on the front of the magazine is seemingly the most streamed movies of October 2022. I was initially surprised that there was no horror movies on there, but it was the 8th of October, so, perhaps it was too early for that. But what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to look over the movies, and I'd like you to choose from that selection your favourite movie, maybe one that you just really enjoyed or one that you've seen more than once. So for me, that would be The Matrix. And then over on the right-hand side of the page, we've got a list of 30 actors and actresses. The interesting thing is there is at least one actor or actress from every movie. 25 movies, 30 actors or actress, so depending on the movie that you choose, there may be more than one person from that particular movie. So, for example, if you chose The Matrix, you could go down. Keanu Reeves is on there. Now, given that he's the lead actor, he would be a popular choice. But if we worked our way just a little bit further down, then you would also see Lawrence Fishburne's on there too. Now, he was also in that movie, so he's also a valid choice. So I've claimed The Matrix, but other than that, the choice is yours. So just look over the list of movies and then work your way all the way from top to bottom through the list of celebrities. And I'd like you to think of a celebrity that appeared in the movie of your choice. And you can let me know when you have somebody in mind. And again, doesn't have to be the lead actor or actress, just somebody who's appeared in the movie itself.
Okay, yeah, got one.
You've got somebody? Okay. Now, is it fair for me to say that at this very moment in time, there's no way that I could know which movie you selected?
Yeah, 100%.
And therefore, there is no way that I could know which of the 30 actors or actresses that you're thinking of. True?
Correct.
Okay, if you just want to bring up your camera, just so that I can see you again. And at this very moment in time, that is 100% true, but that is about to change. You see, what I do is I read thoughts as opposed to minds, and it's very important that I mention this because if I ask you to create a thought in your mind, it is very imperative that you actually create that thought, otherwise I've got nothing to read. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what I'd like you to do is just focus on a simple thought for me. Can you focus, I don't know, on the first letter of the first name of this celebrity? Okay. And this is what's going to happen. I'm going to call the letters of the alphabet out loud, A, B, C, D, all the way through. When you hear me say the letter that you're thinking of, I'd like you with your mind just to think the word stop. Okay? It's important that you don't physically react because this is thought reading as opposed to body language reading. And it's up to me to identify the very moment you create that thought in your mind. So are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S. And you thought stop on S, yes?
No.
I'm almost certain you did. You did think stop at some point there. Don't say anything. Let me go again. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, S, T. Okay, yes, I understood exactly what happened there. You did actually think stop when I said the letter S, but it was just after I said the letter S because you were anticipating the letter T coming up. Just focus on the celebrity. Okay, this is Tom Hanks.
It is Tom Hanks, yeah. Yeah.
Now, it's easy to understand that could appear to be mind reading, but as we know, it's not mind reading, it's thought reading. And the interesting thing is, thought reading is very much indistinguishable from influence. I mean, if I had somehow influenced you to pick Tom Hanks, then that would have appeared exactly the same. True?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if truth be known, we actually did both. I did influence you to pick Tom Hanks, and all I did was read your thoughts just to confirm what it is that I already hoped that you would have went for. So this leaves the question, how did I influence you to pick Tom Hanks? And if you'll recall, this page began folded up.
Yeah.
Can you recall that?
Yeah.
When I first sent you it, and this is the very first thing that you saw. Reader's choice, Hanks. But not only that, Reader's choice, T. Hanks, Tom Hanks. But not only that, I asked you to look over this list of movies, and this is exactly what you saw. The first movie, you. Next one, choose. And then the next initial letters of the next three movies, T, O, M, Tom. Next line down, H, A, N, K, S. You choose Tom Hanks.
That is so cool. Honestly, mate, it's lovely. Lovely routine.
So I briefly skimmed over that due to, obviously, the time constraints. But what's nice is woven into this is a reveal or a pseudo influence for every celebrity that you could have possibly chosen. Because a lot of people say to me, a lot of people have asked when they've watched a video demonstration, is there just one choice? No, you genuinely had a free choice of the movies. You genuinely had a free choice who to think of. And no matter who you choose, we could not only reveal the name of the celebrity, but we can also reveal how you were influenced. Now you'll also understand, because I knew that you were thinking of Tom Hanks, I could decide in performance not to reveal that. I could have just said, no, you weren't thinking, stop on the letter S. Okay, maybe you're just difficult to read. I don't know. Do you mind if we try something completely different? And now we can, I've got that information which is locked in the back of my mind. Already knew who you were thinking of, and we can basically take a complete detour, which is my preferred route, but obviously we'll save what I actually do with that information to the actual explanation for this. But yes, it's very simple, very direct. And what I really like about it is there is no long-winded process. It's just think of a movie, think of an actors from the movie, and boom, we're straight in.
So I've got a couple of questions that I know our viewers will be asking themselves, which is, one of them is, realistically, how much memory work would you say?
Very little. Very little. The information is really all on the page for you. So I suppose you know, for all intents and purposes, you've got a crib. But I would say, you know, maybe five minutes, and you could have this down.
Brilliant.
You know, once you've worked through all of the sort of revelations in your mind and how to make the reveals, then you know, then you're laughing. You know, it is very, very easy, very, very easy.
And from your performance there, and that genuinely wasn't set up. That was a free choice. Michael had no idea what I was going to go for. It was very, very quick to access or get that information. Was very quick.
Yes,
quicker than I thought it was going to be. I thought there was going to be a little more process. Even though I'd seen it before, I couldn't actually remember the process from before because it was a few months ago.
Yeah, the nice thing is that the process is the same every single time. So what you see there, that there's no more process. I'll always know exactly who the participants think of each and every time. So, you know, a lot of people haven't seen it once. They think, okay, well, maybe I chose the best possible outcome, and maybe if I'd chosen you know, completely different actor or actress, then there would have been a lot more work that Michael needs to do to get to. I'm thinking of and the truth is, no, we're done. We do the same thing every time. and we're always ready to make the reveal, you know. But it's really the thought that has actually sort of went into the design of this that, you know, I'm most proud of. This is something which is, you know, has taken a long time to do, and I'm actually going to show you just one of the other reveals, just because it's a favorite of mine. So just so that you can get a flavor of what's in store. Let's say that you had chosen Morgan Freeman. You can remember the page started folded up, and this is basically the first thing that you saw.
That is nice.
You know, so there's inbuilt within this page is a reveal for everybody that can be selected, and you know, I've got my personal favorites, but yeah, you know, it's very simple to perform, and very little process. You know, a lot of people sort of, I suppose, think of me, you know, in terms of isolation, which is the Propolis playing card divination, where there is more work to involved, whereas this, I've designed it to be 100% surefire. So there's no grey area. There's no room for error. There's no room for it to go wrong. And literally anybody can pick this up and learn it, and get out and perform it in a very short space of time.
It's great, and like I said, using it as a tool, it's brilliant, because like you said, and your way is exactly the way I would do it. I'd most probably not be able to pick it up, get on with something else, and then ask them. And by this point, the page is out of the way. This fault's only up here, so now you are really reading their mind and stuff. Yeah, it's great. So what do you get in the pack?
So in the pack, you actually get 3 pages, and I supply 3 pages so that not only have you got refills, so once obviously your page wears out, you've got a couple of spares, but also I supply 3 pages because people have their own preference in the way to actually perform this. So if you're working on stage, parlor, cabaret, as mentioned, you can involve a number of different participants by turning the page into a paper aeroplane, throwing that out to the audience, and basically having your selections made in that fashion. It's important to mention that the actual quality of the paper that is supplied is slightly thicker than standard magazine paper, so that, yes, obviously the paper will crack through repeated use, but this paper is rigid enough basically to last a good number of performances. This particular page I've used in over 100 performances, and also in all of the performances that I've done for magicians and mentalists online, I've actually went through the explanation of all of the different reveals that are built into it. So that's withstood obviously the repeated folding and unfolding. So you should get hundreds of performances from a single page, but you have got 2 additional pages in there, and refills or refill pages will also be made available too. There is also the link to the instructional content which is in there, and that might surprise people because the instructional content spans over an hour. This isn't just a basic, okay, this is what you do, and this is how we know what the participants think of, and I cover a lot more. So it's not just how we discern who the participants think of, how we can reveal each of those people using the page, but I also discuss obviously the ways in which it can be used on stage, and also go into the reasons why we've actually got this page in the first place. Why are we having the participant selecting somebody from the page rather than just actually thinking of somebody? You know, I'll very briefly cover, you know, one of the examples. You know, if I said to Pete, if you think of somebody right now on the spot, I'll have no idea who you're thinking of. The reason being is we've got no common ground to work from. Whereas if we had a mutual group of friends and you were to focus on one of them, then I could maybe pick up on a thought or an idea and say, okay, lots of tattoos, yeah, this must be Pete Turner you're thinking of, yes. Unfortunately, we actually do have a collective group of people that we know, a large pool of people who we both know very well. And these come in the form of celebrities. I've actually got a page from an in-flight magazine here, which is filled with movies and an abundance of different celebrities, all of which I'm familiar with. So no matter which movie you select and no matter which celebrity you select from here, I will be familiar with them. So this gives us the common ground, and it gives us obviously a reason for actually introducing the page. And as I say, I supply a multitude of different motivations for that, because, you know, we need to justify the existence for this. We need to rationalize, you know, why this thing's in existence. And I cover all of the ins and outs. You know, if you've predicted something, then it seems self-defeatist to read somebody's mind. So if we've made the prediction, then why are we reading the mind if we'd already predicted what they would select in advance? So again, this is all covered in the presentation, because we're trying to influence a participant. Influence mightn't be successful. I could try and influence you to come and join me for a drink at Blackpool, and you may think, no, I'm not going to do that, because I remember what happened all those years back and when it got pretty messy. You know, I can say, look, I can try and influence by saying, look, I'll buy, you know, there's a new car around the corner. We can try and influence, but influence isn't guaranteed. So what we do is basically we read the thought to determine or to confirm the fact that, yes, there were indeed influence, and obviously, you know, we'll show how. So there's a lot of sort of psychological thinking that's went into that. And I even cover a nice little handling where actually I do a Morgan Freeman impression. And I don't do a very good Morgan Freeman impression, but it's a beautiful moment in the routine when the participant's standing in front of you, thinking of the celebrity and imagining the celebrity playing their role in the movie of their choice, and imagine that celebrity standing in front of them about to introduce themselves. And then, you know, I whilst their eyes are closed, I reach over and shake the hand. Hi, I'm Morgan Freeman, you know, and the freak out. They don't freak out at my impression of Morgan Freeman, because on a scale of 1 to 10, that's maybe a 2 or a 3 at best. But, you know, I really sort of examine how to sort of maximize the response to the reveal. So, you know, you can choose to use the magazine and the influence route, or, as I say, you can take a complete detour, but all of that's covered. So yeah, an abundance of content which actually comes as part and parcel of the package.
Mate, that's brilliant. I honestly cannot wait to start playing with this. It's such a great idea. I love, I've always loved things like magazine pages and things like that. Craig Petty's obviously had Gossip out and stuff like that. And I love that sort of stuff. Stuff that you can keep in your wallet, sits in your pocket, and, you know, you're just ready to go with either a inbuilt surefire mentalism effect or a tool to allow you to get the information and then build on it, which is what I usually like doing.
Gossip's a great one to mention, because obviously I'll not spoil it for those that aren't aware, but the ending to Craig's gossip effect can also be incorporated with this as well. You know, you might have to do just a little bit of work on your own, but for those who've got gossip, it makes a great avenue as an alternative reveal. So if you don't want to reveal the influence, then actually you can reveal a prediction in the fashion that Craig does. So yeah, you know, it's a wonderful extension to the routine. And actually, having spoken to a few people who've actually got gossip, they've already started exploring ways that they're actually going to mix and mingle the two together.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And I will say, for a limited time, there is a combo deal on our website where you can buy this great effect and gossip as a combo and save yourself some money. So go and check that out. Michael, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us. I've been wanting I need to get you down to the Academy as well.
We will make it happen. We will make it happen. As I say, I am starting to get on top of projects. I've got one main project left to release, and then obviously my calendar will be a little bit freer, so a little bit more flexible. So we shall make that happen.
Brilliant. Look forward to it. Michael, thank you so much for joining us, my friend, on the deep dive, and good luck with Mind Effects and all future releases. We'll speak soon.
An absolute pleasure.
Thank you, mate. Guys, thank you so much for joining us this week on the deep dive. That was my good friend Michael Murray, who is an absolute genius. Before we go, if you haven't done so already, please remember to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you'll be notified every time we go live. I'll be back next week with another deep dive, and until then, have yourselves a great week. I'll see you soon.